Welcome to today's show. Before we get started, let me implore you to please click that subscribe, follow button wherever you get your podcasts. If you're enjoying the show, please spread the word. I'm grateful you've tuned in today. Also, please visit the website at secondlookcinema.net, where you can access transcripts of each episode and even submit an idea for a film to cover in a future episode. Now, on to the show. A Nightmare on Elm Street, the movie that made an entire generation afraid to go to sleep and most likely addicted to coffee. This 1984 horror classic introduces us to Freddy Krueger, a crispy fried ex-janitor with a questionable sense of fashion and a bladed glove that he uses to slash teens in their dreams. And guess what? If you die in the dream, you die in real life. Fun stuff. Our protagonist, Nancy Thompson, quickly realizes that something's off when her friends start dropping like flies in their sleep. While the adults in town are busy gaslighting their kids and downing copious amounts of alcohol, Nancy does what every final girl must: figure out how to fight back. Along the way, she dodges Freddy's one-liners, watches her boyfriend, a young fluffy-haired Johnny Depp way pre-Captain Jack, get turned into a blood geyser, and experiments with extreme sleep deprivation. In the end, Nancy learns the ultimate horror movie hack: just stop believing in the villain and he loses all his power. If only this worked on car salesmen. She turns her back on Freddy, essentially ghosting him out of existence until the movie's weirdly ambiguous ending because, sequels. So if you love dream logic that makes no sense, terrifying practical effects, and a villain who's equal parts horrifying and stand-up comedian, A Nightmare on Elm Street is your kind of nightmare. Sweet 1980s fever dreams, anyone? And now here are 5 facts about the making of A Nightmare on Elm Street you need to know. Fact 1. Freddy was almost named something else. Wes Craven originally wanted to name Freddy Krueger Fred Krueger, which he technically is in the credits, as a nod to a childhood bully who tormented him. However, Freddy just had a creepier ring to it, and it stuck. Thank God he didn't name him Reggie. That's a hero's name. Fact 2. The blood geyser scene went wrong. The iconic scene where Johnny Depp's character Glenn is sucked into his bed and a massive fountain of blood erupts was filmed using a rotating room set. However, the crew lost control of the fake blood, causing it to flood the set chaotically and spill onto electrical equipment. It ended up looking amazing on film, but was a nightmare, pun intended, to clean up. Fact 3. Freddy's makeup was inspired by pizza. Special effects artist David B. Miller designed Freddy's burned face after looking at a pepperoni pizza. The uneven textures and gooey cheese gave him the perfect inspiration for Krueger's grotesque melted skin. And now I'm not hungry anymore. Fact 4. Freddy hardly appears in the movie. Despite being the film's terrifying villain, Freddy Krueger is only on screen for about 7 minutes total. His impact is so strong that it feels like he's lurking everywhere, even when he's not. That's good filmmaking, folks. Fact 5. New Line Cinema was saved by Freddy. At the time, New Line Cinema was a struggling indie studio, and A Nightmare on Elm Street was their big gamble. The film's success not only kept the company afloat, but turned it into a major Hollywood player, earning it the nickname The House That Freddy Built. The legend and lore of Freddy Krueger will never die. Much like the burned toaster pastry himself, he'll continue to keep popping up. But why is that, though? Why do we, especially us fans of 1980s horror, love to watch our favorite monsters and maniacs get defeated only to return once more? I mean, if this were any other genre than an action film, we would see the story, love it, and move on. There's just something about these monsters, no matter how horrible they are or how watered down they become, that keep fans coming back for installments that inevitably end up with these characters in space. I've always seen horror films as cathartic. They obviously aren't for everyone, but for those of us who enjoy them, there's a sense of release and healing that can come from spending an hour and a half with a monster to then be able to walk away from it unscathed. Let's face it, for most of us, life isn't that way at all. We encounter monsters each week, day in and day out. Whether it's a toxic boss, a horrible relationship, a brutal car crash you see in traffic, or even the haunting and horrifying feeling of losing someone you love. Real-life trauma affects us both mentally and physically, and to overcome the effects of it, you have to maintain hope, lean on others, and put in a tremendous amount of self-work to get through it. Even then, we'll never forget about the scars we received in the process. This is why horror can heal. We get to voluntarily nominate ourselves to experience something traumatic but fictional, to walk through to the other side and feel a little bit stronger and maybe even a tiny bit more brave than we were before we went in. Little by little, we grow and we learn not to be so afraid anymore, and our skin gets a little tougher because of it. But what if the traumatic fears we experience in real life were exacerbated and negatively enhanced by something as simple as our belief in them? The 1984 horror film A Nightmare on Elm Street, directed by the late, great Wes Craven, is widely regarded as one of the most influential and terrifying movies of all time. Beyond its status as a slasher classic, the film offers a profound exploration of the power of belief and its impact on reality. Through the character of Freddy Krueger, a supernatural entity who haunts and kills teenagers in their dreams, the film delves into the idea that belief has the ability to shape, empower, or even destroy individuals. This theme is central to the plot, character development, and ultimately the resolution of the film. One of the most striking elements of A Nightmare on Elm Street is its blurring of the line between dreams and reality. Freddy Krueger exists within the dream world, but has tangible effects on his victims in the real world. This dual existence raises a compelling question. Does Freddy have power because he inherently possesses it? Or does he derive his strength from the belief and fear of his victims? The film strongly suggests the latter. The more the teenagers believe in Freddy's ability to harm them, the stronger and more dangerous he becomes. This concept is evident in the way Freddy interacts with his victims. He taunts them, manipulates their fears, and ultimately kills them by exploiting their belief in his power. The teenagers can't simply dismiss Freddy as a bad dream because he operates under the terrifying logic that what happens in their dreams directly translates to their physical world. This establishes belief as a crucial factor in his existence. Those who succumb to fear and acknowledge his power become vulnerable, while those who challenge his reality stand a chance of surviving. Nancy Thompson, the film's protagonist, serves as the embodiment of the power of disbelief and self-control. Throughout the film, Nancy undergoes a transformation from a frightened teenager to an empowered young woman who recognizes the true nature of Freddy's strength. While her friends fall victim to their fears, Nancy becomes increasingly aware that Freddy's power is rooted in their belief in him. Her journey is one of psychological resilience, and she learns to reject Freddy's influence. In the climactic sequence, Nancy makes a pivotal realization. By refusing to believe in Freddy's power, she can strip him of his ability to harm her. This moment encapsulates the core message of the film. Belief, whether it be in fear or in oneself, dictates reality. When Nancy turns her back on Freddy and declares that he has no power over her, he begins to fade away, unable to continue his reign of terror.
I take back every bit of energy I gave you. You're nothing.
The film suggests that societal anxieties, whether they be about authority, trauma, or the unknown, gain power when they're given attention and validation. Freddy Krueger, a character with no physical presence outside of dreams, thrives because people believe in him. This can be likened to real-world fears, such as paranoia, conspiracy theories, or social panic, which gain traction only when people allow them to take hold in their minds. On a psychological level, the film mirrors the concept of self-fulfilling prophecy. When individuals believe they're doomed, powerless, or incapable of change, they often manifest those realities through their actions and mindset. When people believe in their own strength, resilience, or ability to change, they can alter their circumstances. Nancy's ability to defeat Freddy is a direct result of her shift in belief, a theme that resonates beyond the horror genre. A Nightmare on Elm Street is more than just a terrifying slasher film. It's a study of the power of belief and the role it plays in shaping reality. Freddy Krueger is a manifestation of fear that derives his power from the belief of his victims, while Nancy represents the potential of the human mind to overcome even the most terrifying obstacles through self-awareness and resistance. When I was around 10 years old, I had a best friend named Jeff. Jeff loved horror movies. He had posters lining his walls with Chucky, Jason, Freddy, and more. Growing up as a preacher's kid, I wasn't allowed to watch R-rated movies, much less gory horror films. So hanging out with Jeff, I found myself looking at the posters over and over again, making up stories in my mind, making my own versions of what the films were about since I couldn't see them. I loved my parents deeply and didn't take issue with them not letting me see those films. I understood it. I didn't like it, of course, but I respected it. But it's clear now, looking back, that some of us are wired in such a way that no matter what permissions we have or don't have, we're interested in whatever it is that grabs us. That's not a permission slip, of course, to go do whatever you want whenever you want to do it. What I mean specifically is, I think some of us are just more interested in the darker side of things sometimes. Curious, if you will. Especially those of us that were often afraid of everything. Instinctively, I think I wanted to challenge myself at a young age. Hey, Eddie, if you can make it through this movie or make it on this roller coaster ride or the school dance without looking like an idiot, you might be better than you think you are. One of the reasons I write to this very day is because of A Nightmare on Elm Street, a film I was well aware of for a decade and a half before I actually saw it myself. The legend and lore of Freddy Krueger and my desire to know what the story was about led me to submit a short story to my 5th grade teacher in English class. The assignment was to write a short story about anything we wanted to, graded on grammar, spelling, and the usual English class bullet points. I wrote a story about Freddy Krueger and told a tale that I thought might have been close to what the film told, only from my perspective and based on my own dreams and nightmares. My teacher pulled me aside after class one afternoon. I thought for sure he was going to get mad at me, but instead, he told me that I was a very good writer. He encouraged me to continue to do so and get better and better at it. This changed my life trajectory instantly. Something I was dabbling in at an early age for fun was now what I wanted to be more than anything in this entire world. New Line Cinema may have been the house that Freddie built, but Freddie's story had a hand in helping me get the encouraging words I needed just at the right moment to send me on a journey all my own. Freddy Krueger may have needed Nancy's belief and fear to exist in the real world, but what I needed was to believe in myself and be fearless with my words. I'm still working on that, but the journey never ends. Horror fans, curious listeners, fans of 80s genre films, brew a cup of strong coffee, turn on your big screen TV, and slip on some leg warmers or a members-only jacket if you still have it, and watch A Nightmare on Elm Street again. But whatever you do, don't fall asleep. Thank you for listening today. As always, watch films deeper, listen closer, and search for a deeper meaning than what's on the surface. I'll see you next time.